Coaxial cables themselves have been updated since then, of course. Though regardless of setup, I admittedly never paid attention to my setup when growing up. That was my parents who handled everything. Though looking around, it seems as if these two technologies can operate independently of each other through various other means. Oh, look at that! I guess it can come from various sources. But each cable setup would need coaxial cables. Though I guess more modern TVs don't need the TV sets if they are just going to have the ports installed on them. Though I may use streaming services nowadays, my TV will always have its snow, and these cables will always remain. Getting back on track, these new technologies would feature cable-only channels, premium channels, satellite distribution channels, notably HBO, that would distribute movies to television, superstations that would broadcast their signals much farther, pay-per-view, video on demand, and a bundling of various broadband services that one would get if they were to sign up with certain companies. Indeed, there has been quite the growth of ideas over the years, including, of course, the resolutions and frame rates. I don't have any hard evidence on this, but I would say that at least since the 1990s, television displays have gained the ability to have higher frame rates due to video games not having broadband limitations. Though keep in mind that video games were still limited by the TVs of their day. So it wasn't expected for Mega Man X, for example, to be in 16:9 while outputting a 1080p resolution at the time. However, resolutions would certainly improve by the late 2000s with the introduction of the ATSC standard to replace the NTSC standard in North America. This standard would feature higher resolutions, a 16:9 aspect ratio, and a focus on progressive scan. Admittedly, my notes don't say that here, but progressive scan would start to become more of a focus for television programs and other content going forward. Interestingly enough, the development of this standard would start shortly after other means of distribution, such as cable, became popular, becoming the new standard on June 12, 2009. But before I forget, I should give a mention to PAL, or Phase Alternate Line, and SECAM, or Sequential Couleur Moire, forgive me if I mispronounced, standards from overseas. These standards used more lines and megahertz, but would have smaller frame rates as a result. With video games that would reach 60 frames per second in North America and Japan, they would be converted to 50 frames per second in PAL regions, with 30 frames per second games becoming 25 frames per second games following suit. Yes, I would imagine the same would be for SECAM, due to the similar broadcasting requirements, though I can't say for certain as I don't know. Though what I do know is that the standards for TV would start to change in the world in the 2000s, as high-definition consoles such as the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 would mark the change where all regions of the world would have the same resolutions and frame rates. Oh, look at the time here! I must be going. Thank you all for watching, my friends. I hope that you all learned something, and I'll see you next time with something else. Bye!